G'day family. Wow, isn't it hard to work out where we're at the moment based on all the things that we see in the media and the polar opposites that are being said from one day to the next. Even amongst individuals, like Donald will say completely polar opposite things in posts. He hates Benjamin one day, next day he's the best bloke in the world. Next thing it's all off with Iran, next thing it's bomb Iran. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, whilst we wait, we know we must be very, very close. So here's some interesting math. Now, we all sort of have been looking at Apophis on the 13th of April 2029. Tom Horn did a whole heap of research on that. Brother David's done a whole heap of research. Many people have. So let's just minus 1,260 days. So what I'm going to do here is just a little fun exercise with biblical counts for 3.5 years. And biblical counts for months, so we'll go 1260 and 30 days, versus Gregorian counts for months and years. So if we start with Apophis and we take out 1,260 days, what we believe is the half of the tribulation, what some people would say 3.5 years, referring to a 7-year tribulation. So that brings us back to our well-known date of 31st of October. Halloween, All Saints' Day, the day of the flood, basically. We pretty much all agree on that. So, if you take 4 months from that, rather than 120 days, now the 4 months I'm getting from John, where it says, look, the harvest is ripe already. It basically paraphrased, it says you're looking for the harvest in 4 months' time. It says look up, and interestingly, grain, etc., harvests of any sort aren't planted up in the air, they're on the ground, right? So it says look up, the harvest is ripe 4 months early. So this is where I'm using the 120 days / 4 months. Now, as I said, if that gives us a June 30 and a July 3rd date. Now, we have all that research that Brother Matthew's recently done, pointing to a July 4th possible big event. And then also we have, of course, the law of return the next day, which is, I did a little video on that, suggesting that, does the law leave on July 4th and return on July 5th? Just as, the Jews celebrate the law of return the next day on July 5th. So let's just say we've established 2 windows here based on 1,260 days from Apophis, using 4 months and 120 days, giving us a window of June 30 to July 3rd. Now, if we use sunset and midnight, I guess July 3rd is, let's look at June first, okay? So if we use sunset, when does it become June 3rd in Israel based on the Hebrew way of seeing things? It's June the 29th at sunset, right? So let's extend the window to June 29 and July 4th. Now that then nicely includes Brother Matthew's research for July 4th and lines up nicely, as I said, with the law of return being July 5th. Now, is there any validity to this? We're looking at future dates. We don't know. Something may happen between June 29th and July 4th. But we don't know yet. However, can we apply this same logic and see if it may have indicated back in the past that we could be onto something. So let's have a look. Instead of applying to the Apophis 13th April 2029 date, instead of applying 1,260 days, let's use 3 years and 6 months. As often people say, 7-year tribulation. And we know 2 lots of 1,260 days don't make 7 full years. I think it's about 37.8 days short or something. Anyhow, let's use Gregorian months and years. So we'll start with the same date, 13th of April 2029, take off 3 years, 6 months, and then apply, as we did with previous logic, 120 days or 4 months based on the 4 months that I mentioned in John, and the harvest being ready 4 months early, which could be an indication, of a surprise rapture, something that we're looking for. So if we start with 13th of April 2029, it brings us back to 13th of October 2025. Now, I'm not too sure if anything significant happened on that day biblically. I haven't looked. Somebody can. Let me know in comments. But now applying the 120 days and 4 months, 120 days we get June 15th. 4 months we get 13th of June. Now we know something extremely significant happened on the 13th of June. Did something significant also happen on the 15th of June after Israel attacked Iran? I can't remember. But this method of using Gregorian years and months versus the 1,260 days and 4 months instead of 120 days does seem to have validated itself for June 13. Possibly June 15. Once again, I'd need to check. You can let me know if there was a sort of a secondary significant event after the attack. So using this logic, perhaps we do have a window to look at now between 29th June, July 4th, with the very next day the Jews celebrating the law of return, when potentially the law may well return for them. Anyway, guys, God bless, stay encouraged. It is craziness out there. We do not know what's going on from one day to the next. The Bible is true. We can rely on that. We know the bride is going to leave soon because the Bible tells us. Confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that he rose from the dead 3 days later, defeating death, sin and the grave, that he did that willingly, that he did that for you to pay a debt that you could not pay. God bless.